Hello everyone, welcome back to StudyBuddy Code channel. We're solving SAT maths questions in the domain algebra. The difficulty level is medium. If you'd like to know how I've selected these questions, you can go back to the first video in this playlist. Let's start reading the question. The graph of the function f, where y equals f of x, gives the total cost y in dollars for a certain video game system and x games. What is the best interpretation of the slope of the graph in this context? So I'll give you a minute to pause the video and try solving this by yourself first. Okay, let's start solving the question now. So they're asking us what the slope of the graph here means in this context that they have given us. So y here, the y-axis is the cost in dollars for a certain video game system and X games. So we have one video game system and this many games, okay? And we're calculating the cost here. Okay, so if you see the graph here, it starts at, even at zero, like 0 games, because X is the number of games, not the number of game systems. Get it? We just have one game system and X games. So like something you put in the video game system, maybe, not sure. However, what the question is saying that there's one video game system and this many games, okay? All right, so here, if you can see, at 0 games, this is games, right? At 0 games you're buying, it's still $100 because you're buying the video game system. So with the video game system, costs $100. Get it? Because here at 0 games, there's still a cost, right? It's $100. Why is that? Even though you're buying 0 games, that's because it's the cost of the video game system. Now at 1 game, like when you're buying 1 game and the video game system, the cost is $125. If you see here, it's $125. So at 1 game, okay, that's the X value, and this is going to be Y value. The Y value is $125. So if you see here, this, initially it was 100, right? That's the cost of the video game system only. Now, with 1 game, the cost is now $125. So the cost of each game is $25. Right? Each game seems to cost $25. Okay, and now let's find out the slope of the graph. So I'm gonna pick another point here, which is 8 and let's see, $300. So for 8 games, it's $300. Okay, the slope is y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. Okay, here this is our x1, this is our y1, this is x2, this is x2, and this is y2. Okay, so let's do it. Let's substitute the values here. 300 minus 125 divided by 8 minus 1. So this will equal, well, that's 7. And just give me a minute here. 300 minus 125 will be 175. Now let's divide this by 7. Divide by 7. 25. And there you go. See, the slope is 25, which means that as you go one more game further, you're increasing. Let me just show you. One more game further, okay, it increases by $25. One more game, $25. One more game, $25. Okay, and that's what the slope is, right? As you move this many steps in the x-axis, you move up or down in the y-axis. That's what the slope is. So here it's 25, which means each game here is costing $25. All right, let's see the options now. Option A, each game costs $25. That's literally what we just said earlier. So that is correct. We'll keep it for now. Let's read the other options as well. The video game system costs $100. Well, that is correct. However, that is not what the question is asking. The question is asking for the slope. Here, this is the y-intercept. Okay? The slope-intercept form of a linear function, because this is a linear graph, is y equals mx plus b. This is the y-intercept. In this case, our y-intercept is $100 because the y-intercept is the point where the line or the graph intersects the y-axis and when x is 0. Okay, so this is correct. However, this is not the right answer for this question, so not B. Next, option C. The video game system costs $25. No, the video game system does not cost $25. It costs $100, as we said earlier. So this is just wrong. Each game costs $100? That's not true, because as we see here, the video game system costs $100. And then when we buy one more game, like when we get one game, it's $125, not $200, right? If the line was something like, hold on, let me draw the line what this option is saying. Okay, so if it was something like, let's see here, something like this, okay, then that would probably be correct because here at one game it's $200, so it increased by $100. So it would have been correct if it was that way, but here we have it at $125 and $100, and then we're going $150 for 2 games. So we're increasing by $25, not $100. So it's not option D, it's option A. So we're going to use DESMOS, but in this case, we're just going to use DESMOS to solve the slope, okay? To find out the slope, sorry. We're going to use it to find out the slope. We can't calculate anything here in the options. We're just going to find out the value using DESMOS. So I'm going to type in the values, or sorry, the points that we got from the graph. So the first point, let's see, 1 and 125, and the next one was 8 and 300, right? Okay, so here, sorry I didn't show you, I clicked on this add item button and I clicked on this table, and now I'm going to add a linear regression here to get this specific line. Okay, here it's going to it's going to give us a line or a graph or an equation that perfectly matches these 2 points that we just gave DESMOS. So the equation here is y equals 25x plus 100. The slope, you can get the slope from here, which is 25. And you get the overall equation just by doing this. So it's really kind of helpful to solve this kind of question. Okay, thank you.